least.
That's not too bad. Thanks very much indeed, Louise. Now, ABBA came that close to staging a reunion last night to celebrate 30 years since they won the Eurovision Song Contest. However, in the end, only 3 of the 4 members appeared on stage.
What a shame. But while the band says it will never perform again, its songs are still making millions in the ABBA musical, Mamma Mia.
Perhaps it's because we'd all secretly like to dress up like this. Or maybe we haven't been to enough wedding discos, but Mamma Mia is, for some reason, at the moment, the most successful show in the world.
We thought it would be a small, intimate show in a small theatre. You know, perhaps run for 1 or 2 years. So we didn't think money at all.
5 years on, its global takings are around $750 million, and the British team who helped turn these old songs into a new show have done rather well.
Speaking from my point of view, I've actually got £1 million, and that's all, and I say all, but not 8 million as other people have said. So it's been very lucrative indeed.
And to celebrate this 5th birthday, ABBA's very diverse fan base had turned up to welcome ABBA's writers, Benny and Bjorn. And there was even an appearance by the singer Frida. But the now Fame-averse 4th member, Agneta, stayed at home. ABBA won't be performing again.
No, actually not. No, we've done our thing, you know, and 30 years is a long time, isn't it?
But while ABBA won't return, the show won't go away. It's played in 70 cities around the world over the last 5 years. There are currently 11 separate Mamma Mias playing around the globe. There is, though, one language it hasn't been performed in yet, ABBA's own, Swedish.
I was very hesitant. I didn't want to do it, you know. But finally they convinced me that it should be done. I mean, they said, well, you have to do it. It's your home country. You have to do it here as well.
So exactly 30 years after ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest, 3/4 of them were back on stage, being thanked for the music, for the record sales, and for creating a musical that people can whistle on their way in to the auditorium. David Silito, BBC News.
75% of ABBA, which makes it ABBA.
Yes, very good.
Or Bubba. It depends which A was missing. I don't know which one. Well, anyway, listen, Ben Elton's with us here to discuss this new wave of pop musicals. You've got 2 yourself, of course, based on Queen and Rod Stewart. Do you think it's a generational thing, that 70s generation who want to see the music they grew up with?
Yes, I think, you know, pop music's always, you know, been supposed to move people a little bit emotionally. Noel Coward said, strange how potent cheap music is, and he meant it as a compliment. And I think, you know, the last 2 or 3 generations since the 50s, we've got our pop music from the charts. I mean, in the old days, people got their pop music from the theatre, from Gilbert and Sullivan to Cole Porter. People would hear the tunes, then go home and play them on the piano. I think it's no surprise that the pop music of our generations is returning to the theatre, where they can hear it sung live and played live by live bands, as you just saw, in relative comfort and get a great story. It's, you know, it's good fun. It ain't killing anyone.
But as more and more of those fill the theatres, isn't the net result that there are fewer and fewer original musicals? Something that you've been involved in before you came into this type of music. I mean, you wrote The Beautiful Game, didn't you? Which was an original musical, not based on other people's songs.
I don't think you can legislate against, you know, a form of popular entertainment that wins a standing ovation every night. People have a right to see. Most people who subsidise all the vast array of subsidised theatre in Britain, numerous productions, have, I think, a right to be inspired and enjoy a night in the theatre themselves. And when I see a standing ovation every night for We Will Rock You or Tonight's the Night, or indeed for Mamma Mia, I think that's relatively fair enough. I mean, at the Victoria Palace, where we are at Tonight's the Night, we were told, oh, you know, is this awful, that this sort of tacky entertainment? Hang on a minute, you know, this theatre, you know, Heidi-Hi were here, then the Crazy Gang. You know, this is... I think there's a place for popular entertainment in the theatre, and unless people begin to come back to the theatre in numbers, all you will have left is the subsidised sector, which is great. It should be there. But I'd be very sorry to see popular theatre die. And it's wonderful to see Mamma Mia doing so well. It's a fantastic show.
It builds a theatre-going habit, doesn't it? I mean, but how far do you think it'll go just on this narrow genre of the pop revival ones? There's talk about Wham, one based on
I think these are all myths. I'm supposed to be writing one for everyone. I do it because I love it, and I think it'll go as far as the public can enjoy it. I mean, basically, the Dominion Theatre, where We Will Rock You's playing, I don't know what you've got on at the first
Wham on at the moment.
George Michael and dear old Andrew. Yeah.
You know, that's a 2,000-seat theatre. It couldn't really be filled by anything other than Queen. So thank goodness somebody's keeping that theatre open, and it happens to be me. I'm very proud of that.
What about pulling all these songs together? I mean, how do you go? I mean, you must start with the songs. I'm fascinated to know how you do it. I saw Mamma Mia recently for the first time and was actually very impressed with the way they had managed to create a story around these songs. How did you go about it with Queen, for example?
Well, I mean, currently, you know, I'm thinking very hard about Tonight's the Night, the Rod Stewart musical, and you look at the vibe of the act. I mean, the Mamma Mia thing, it's a love story about 2 generations. What a great idea for their songs. With Tonight's the Night, it's a romantic comedy because it's not a biography of Rod, but it uses his spirit, which is good fun. And
but do you get to a point with a certain song when you think, how the hell are we going to crowbar this one in?
#1 hit for weeks and weeks. We've got to get it in somewhere.
I think these songs, you know, Mamma Mia's songs, Rod Stewart's songs, they're love songs. They tend to be about either losing your love or getting your love, and that fits very well into the genre of popular musical comedy. And so, no, it's not normally that hard. But to get the right story, to really bring people, because they don't always work, these things. There's been a number of failures. I think you have to love it. I love pop music. It's been part of my life. We had a band every week in the Young Ones. We had 3 bands each week on Saturday Live. It's what I'm about. Richard Curtis and I wrote the whole of the Black Adder listening to pop music, and it's a wonderful to me to get to work with Queen and with Rod Stewart. To me, it's a wonderful and invigorating thing, and I'm very proud that we've brought millions of people back into the theatre.
I mean, just on that writing again, is it a bit like one of those parlour games, one of those radio games where each person comes up with one line of the story, and you don't really know where it's going to go because you're picking out another song, another lyric, and say, oh, that could give it a nice twist.
No, it's a bit harder than that. I mean, I write stories. That's what I do. I write novels, I write sitcoms, I've written plays, I wrote an original musical, and these original musicals using great canons of popular music, they're hard. You have to think of an appropriate story that's relevant to the act. That's why Mamma Mia's a success. That's why Tonight's the Night's a success.
And why wasn't The Madness one Our House? Which, I mean, great pop songs, great band, and actually was deemed to be quite successful. Yeah, was deemed to be a good show, but didn't work out.
Well, I think you should be. I think it was a great show. I don't know. I loved it. I think it was wonderful. I'm sure it'll come back on the road, etc. But you should be a bit careful about judging popular entertainment by what the critics say. I think it's about time we acknowledge that Dad's Army, Fawlty Towers, slagged off when they opened. It takes critics a generation to recognise what the public understand instinctively. Popular entertainment is hard to do, and it's important to have. And it's irritating, I have to say, that constantly one is told, well, there's these 8 blokes who work for, you know, live in a little hole and work for the, you know, the Sunday Times, and they didn't like it. Well, hang on, there's 2,000 people standing up and cheering each night. That doesn't necessarily make it good, but it certainly doesn't make it bad. And I think in terms of popular entertainment, you'll very rarely find it being welcomed by professional critics. I think you should see if you want to know what the critics will be looking back on later, look at what the public like now, just as quite rightly, Dad's Army is now seen as a classic. Believe me, 25 years ago, only the public knew that.
And your own Black Adder was nearly pulled.
Black Adder was nearly pulled. I mean, we were slagged to death. Young Ones, Fawlty Towers. You know, look, bless them. Critics, let them fill their newspapers. But I think it's nice to fill theatres occasionally.
Glad you said it,
Ben. Thanks
very much
Ben.
indeed for joining us this morning.